Now, we will going to take up the problem on projections of laminars. How to analyze the problem number 88. The problem reads as: a rectangular laminar of sides 20 mm by 30 mm rests on HP on one of its longer edges. The laminar is tilted about the edge on which it rests till its plane surface is inclined to HP of 45 degrees. The edge on which it rests is inclined at 30 degrees to VP. Draw the projections of the laminar. So how to begin this problem? So he has given a rectangular laminar of sides 20 mm by 30 mm. So how to start? Whether we have to start from the vertical plane or whether you have to start from the horizontal plane. So first we should understand, or first we should look at the surface inclination. What is the surface inclination given? The plane surface is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. If the plane surface is inclined to HP at 45 degrees, then I have to keep the laminar parallel to HP only. That means when the surface inclination with respect to HP has to be 0 degree. So once you keep the surface parallel to HP, then we can make the surface, or then we can rotate the surface at an inclination of 45 degrees to HP. So we have to start from the horizontal plane. So that is how we can analyze this. But then how, because since it is a 20 by 30, whether 20 mm has to be perpendicular to VP or 30 mm has to be perpendicular to VP. He says one of its longer edges, it is resting on one of its longer edges. If the longer edge has to be resting, then that edge has to be perpendicular to VP. So that is the condition. So now we can arrest all these things. So how you can see the longer edge is perpendicular to VP. Once the longer edge is perpendicular to VP, what happens in vertical plane? You will going to get a point. So we can see here AD and BC are the two longer edges because 30 mm is greater than 20 mm. So this BC and AD are perpendicular to VP. So obviously in the front view you will going to get a point which is B dash C dash and which is A dash B dash. As we see the edge A dash B dash, B dash C dash, C dash D dash and D dash A dash all are parallel to HP. So you are getting the true shape in horizontal plane. So initially we have to keep the laminar on the horizontal plane such that the two of the longer edges has to be perpendicular to VP. So that is what we have written here. So once it is perpendicular to HP, obviously perpendicular to VP, obviously in VP you get a line. And as we see all the sides are parallel to HP, so we are getting the true shape in HP. So when this is rotated, you can see here the initial position of AB is 20 mm and BC is 30 mm. Now the laminar is tilted about the edge on which it rests till its plane surface is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. Initially the position of the surface is 0 degrees to HP. Now what we have done is we have rotated the laminar by an angle of 45 degrees. Whether it has to be rest on AD or BC because both are perpendicular to VP. Since both are perpendicular to VP, so obviously that will going to be a point in the vertical plane. So in order to have the clarity in the views, we have kept AD on the horizontal plane and then rotated BC so that we have kept BC above HP by an angle of 45 degree. So when the entire surface is rotated by an angle of 45 degree, so you are going to get, in the front view, you are going to get a line, so which is B dash C dash, and this is A dash D dash. So A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, and A dash, this is a surface which is inclined to HP, but still that surface is 90 degree with respect to the vertical plane. Therefore, you are getting a line in the vertical plane. So obviously, when you look from the top view, AD and BC, you can see AD and BC still perpendicular to VP, and AB and CD, as we know, A dash, B dash, and C dash, D dash, these two sides are inclined to HP. Therefore, you are getting the apparent length AB and CD. But we can see A dash, D dash, and B dash, C dash are parallel to HP. So you are getting the true length. So what is the true length? AD will go to have 30 mm and BC will also have 30 mm. But AB and CD will no longer will be equal to 20 mm, but it is less than 20 mm. So as we look from the front view, A and B is near to the observer, so A dash, B dash is visible. C and D is away from the observer, so C dash, D dash is in bracket. So when you look from the top view, all A, B, C, D are near to the observer, so it is totally visible. Now, the edge on which it rests is inclined to HP at 30 degrees. So, the edge on which it rests is inclined at 30 degrees to VP. Draw the projections. So, which is the edge which is resting on HP? So, the edge which is resting on HP is A dash, D dash. How do I know that? We can see here A dash, D dash is the edge which is resting on HP, but that edge is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Here he has given the true inclination. Always he gives the true inclination. As we see from the front view, as A dash, D dash is parallel to HP, so you are getting the true length here. And also the inclination given is the true inclination. From the projections of lines, we know that on the true inclination line, we will always get the true length. Therefore, since AD is also in true length, therefore what we need to do is we need to rewrite the same sketch by rotating at an angle of 30 degree to the XY line. So then you mark this A, B, C and D. Then you project this. So you will going to get the surface here which is of A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. So we can see here A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. How do I know that the problem is right? We can see that the longer edge is still resting on HP, and the edge which is resting on HP is inclined to VP, which is at 30 degrees, and the surface is inclined to HP at 45 degrees, and a rectangular laminar of 30 by 20 mm. So even in the 3D analysis also, you can see that A dash, D dash is on XY line and B dash, C dash is above XY line. This sketch and this sketch is one and the same. Actually, this is the one which we need to write, but in the top view, we have not shown that this drawing. That is because to have the better clarity of this. So that is the reason why we have not shown that here. Now, how to solve this problem by using the sketchbook? So how to do that? Now I will going to explain how you have to do it manually. First, we will going to draw an XY line with a very thin line. And you mark X and Y and you mark VP and HP. So first you take a scale or from the sketchbook, you mark a distance of 30 mm perpendicular to the XY line at some distance from the XY line. And you draw a line of 30 mm. AD. Then from here you measure 20 mm and draw a rectangle of 30 by 20. And you mark A, B, C and D with a dot. Mark them and join A to B, B to C, C to D and D to A with a dot line. Then project from A and D to the XY line and also project from B and C to the XY line. And this projector should be a thin line. And as we see from the front view, AB is near to the observer. So A dash, B dash is visible. And C and D is away from the observer. C dash, D dash becomes invisible. Then as we are joined between A and B with a dark line, so you join between A dash, B dash with a dark line. And there is no need to join all the other dimensions because we have to give the preference only to the visible edge. Once you do that, then we have to go to the second position. So since it is resting on one of the longer edges, as the two longer edges, that is AD and BC, both are perpendicular, so I have taken A dash, D dash because in the analyzing I have taken A dash, D dash. So the same thing I am going to take here. Consider any equidistance, some distance from the first position front view, and you mark that point here on XY line and mark that point as A dash and D dash in bracket. Then by using the protractor, you measure an angle of 45 degrees with respect to the XY line and draw a thin inclined line. Then by using the compass, you measure the distance from A dash to B dash with A dash as center, cut an arc on that 45 degree line and you mark that point as B dash and C dash in bracket. Then as we are joined between A dash, B dash with a dark line, similarly here also you join between A dash, B dash with a dark line. Then draw a vertical projector from A dash and D dash and draw a horizontal projector from A and D. Both will going to intersect at these 2 points. On A dash and A it will be here, on D dash and D it will be here. Similarly, draw a vertical projector from B dash and C dash and draw a horizontal projector from B and C. Both will going to intersect at this point and at this point. So you mark this point as B and C. Then join A to B with a dark line, B to C with a dark line, C to D with a dark line and D to A with a dark line, so that it will going to become the actual top view. This will not going to be in the true shape. That I have already explained in our analysis. Now as we see, the edge which is resting on HP is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So we know why we have to take the true inclination, which also have been explained. So we want to rewrite the same sketch by rotating at an angle of 30 degrees with respect to the XY line. So what you do, consider any point from the XY line at some distance and draw a horizontal line. And consider any point, and from there you measure an angle of 30 degrees with respect to that horizontal line. Then draw an inclined line, which is a thin line. Then you mark that point as D. That means I have taken this point here. Then by using the compass, you measure the distance from D to A. From D as center, cut an arc on that 30 degree line and you mark this point as small a. Then by using the protractor with D as center, measure an angle of 90 degree with respect to this 30 degree line and draw a perpendicular line. Similarly with A as center, again with respect to the 30 degree line, you measure an angle of 90 degrees and then draw a perpendicular line. Then by using the compass with A as center, taking the radius of A to B and also D to C, both will going to have equal distances. With A as center, cut an arc on this perpendicular line and also with D as center, cut an arc on this perpendicular line and you mark that point as B and C. Then join A to B, B to C, C to D and D to A with a dark line. So this is how you will be able to complete the third position top view first. Once you do that, then we need to write the front view. To write the front view, draw a horizontal projector from A dash and draw a vertical projector from A. Both will going to intersect on the XY line at this point. So you mark this point as A. Similarly, from D dash also you have drawn a horizontal line and draw a vertical projector from D, which is to the XY line, and you mark that point as D dash. And all these projector lines what you are drawing has to be very, very thin line. And draw a horizontal projector from B dash and C dash and draw a vertical projector from B and also and C. Both will going to intersect at B dash and C dash respectively. Then join and mark these points as B dash and C dash. Then join A dash B dash, B dash C dash, C dash D dash and D dash A dash with a dark line. So this is how you will be able to complete the sketch and show the dimensions accordingly. So whatever the dimensions which is given in the drawing or which is given in the question, it need to be dimension here on the drawing. So this is how you will be able to analyze and solve the problem by using sketchbook. Thank you.